Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sohum Reactions. Today's request comes from Connor, who suggested we listen to the song Even for an Eggshell by the punk rock band the Menzingers, who I've never heard of before. I didn't really know Menzingers was a thing. I don't know if that's a word or not, if that has a separate meaning, but punk rock is a super, super fun genre. My expectations going into this one, we are going to have angsty vocals, chugging guitars, potentially guitar solos, though not every punk rock band opt for guitar solos, weirdly enough. I'm curious if they're going to take the more like energetic, like angsty approach, or if they're going to go into more of like a pseudo grunge kind of an area. Really, it's all up to the Menzingers, so I'm very curious to hear what their sound is like. But once again, massive thank you to Connor for requesting the song. Now, my friends, let's jump into it.
Something's wrong in the state of Denmark. A broken armor picks up the pieces. Either way, a failure will grow.
The angst is in, and the double tracking of the vocals.
In the state of Denmark. A broken armor picks up the pieces. Either way, a failure will grow.
Yeah, very, dude. Wow, and this riff, very Green Day, Mayday Parade, Bayside. There's one other group in there.
Lick your lips and let your heart. This mess will make a difference for anyone but you.
Oh, I like the moment of just kick drum. Interesting. You know, it's not heavy, at least relative to the things that like I'll listen to, even in the punk rock world. This is not heavy exactly. It's like right above the layer that I would qualify a song as being heavy. But, you know, obviously, like, take that with a pinch of salt because I am a metalhead through and through. So, like, a lot of what is heavy to me may be further on the continuum than the average music listener in general. But, like, on that chorus, I was expecting huge guitar, huge bass, huge drums. And instead, things felt a little bit more hollow in that moment. So I really feel like the energy being created and sought out in this song is one that allows the vocals to really permeate the atmosphere and be almost left alone, like untouched by the other instruments. I'm also really appreciating the vocals here. There was a line, I think it was this one, "This mess won't make a difference here," that just goes crazy. You can hear like how his voice is splitting into three. Let me go back here. You hear that? The rasp. That's crazy. So it has the potential here, like this build up, this run up, to make a huge drop into the chorus. I don't think we get that big drop. It's more chill, it's more in line with what we had before. I think one of the reasons that happens, by the way, where the chorus doesn't feel heavier relative to what came before, is because I think either one or two electric guitars in this mix are kind of just sitting in that mid-range rather than actually establishing a floor to this track. And even the drums, for the most part, the way that they sound, they're a bit shallower compared to like how a kick drum normally can sound. So something about the way that they've mixed this song here feels a little bit more raw, but at the same time a bit shallower compared to some of the heavier counterparts that exist. No shade to the Menzingers, but that's just what I'm noticing. Picks up the pieces, either way, a failure will grow. Something's wrong in the state of Denmark. I like this. Orophilia. Oh, I like the graveliness. Yeah, the rawness in this production is nice. Oh, cool handoff between the guitars.
And something's wrong in the state of time, like a broken arrow breaks off the pieces. Either way, I feel they all will cry. And something's wrong in the state of time, like a broken arrow breaks off the pieces. Either way, I feel they all will cry.
Or Ophelia. Definitely like giving me Bayside vibes.
More fibers put to the grey, and the great digger laughs as we waste away. Contest and the trick tip marks the end. The contest and the trick tip marks the end. The stinking thirst quenched with this cup, the kiss of a death from rotting lips. Never forget, never let it forget.
Oh, the drumming was so nice there.
Something's wrong in the state of Denmark. A broken armor picks up the pieces. Either way, Ophelia will cry. Something's wrong in the state of Denmark. A broken armor picks up the pieces. Either way, Ophelia will cry.
There you have it, my friends. Even for an Eggshell by the Menzingers. Very much like brought me back to my high school days where I'm like on the bus discovering all of this crazy metal music, a lot of punk rock, a lot of punk metal, if you can even imagine that. And lately, I don't know if you guys have been like perusing all of the other genres that are getting created out there, but within the last 5-6 years, there has been I want to say like resurgence of, it's called like, it's basically like a mix of like hard style rap, dubstep, and heavy metal with screamo. You can think of your like, I think the artist is Scar Lord or something like that, usually like playing with the likes of I Prevail, but occasionally it will enter more of this like high school angst grungier place, though I wouldn't say this is as grungy as it could have gone. You can definitely tell though that the production is super raw, and that's almost like the exact feel you would want for a punk rock band out of Sacramento. It almost feels like this was recorded in their garage, and not because of the quality. I feel like the quality was very high, but just the way that even their voice carries through the studio room that they're recording in. It feels very intimate in that regard. I find it weird though that it didn't feel heavy, at least for me. Like obviously, again, take that with a grain of salt, because like I'm used to a lot of very heavy music, and big bass usually helps carry that across. I feel like that was probably one of the elements that felt missing in this track, if anything. Like the guitar riffs were fun and well thought out, and I think would have actually been satisfactory on their own had there been a bass there. I think without the bass, I almost want the guitars to do a little bit more and get even louder in those choruses, have the drums kick up as well. So if anything, in my opinion, there's like a little bit of an issue at the details level, where I would just like things turned up and down in this mix so that everything pops just a bit more. Because oftentimes in the punk rock world, a thing that I'll notice is that in lieu of very, very crazy and all over the place dynamics, there will be this like consistent, let's say like shouting, angsty vocal that comes across. And once it's there, well, you need to find a place to kind of grow from it, to make the song a little bit more dynamic from a listener's perspective. So I feel like this song, by the 2 minute mark, I pretty much understood all of what was coming my way. And the only thing that really threw me off and really like perked my ears up were the sort of switch ups in groove and the dropping out of different elements of the mix, kind of playing with the riffs and then changing the space between some of the like melodic beats in this song. But by the end, we reestablished the chorus several times over. So if I were like just to now extrapolate to what I think the Menzingers discography may sound like in general, I would almost imagine like a song like this would probably sit somewhere in the middle of an album of theirs, or like in the middle of their set list. I could not imagine this song being a closer for a show or an album. I think this could more be an intro kind of a song, but I'm still inclined to say that it lies somewhere in the middle. And I get that making that kind of statement is rather banal, because like if I were to throw a dart at a dartboard, most of the time it's going to hit, somewhere in the middle of the songs 2 to like 10 if there's 11 tracks on the record. But that's just the way this song makes me feel. Also, one last thing that I was curious about, because I know, Connor, you mentioned that this song had a lot of references to Shakespeare, and the Ophelia definitely makes that obvious to me, but I'm going to look up very specifically what's going on there. Just give me a moment. Okay, so this is a result here from Google AI. The phrase "even for an eggshell" is a track by the punk rock band the Menzingers. The title and the song itself are direct references to William Shakespeare's play Hamlet. Interesting. So I never read Hamlet. My Shakespeare play in high school was Romeo and Juliet, where I played Mercutio, I believe, and Macbeth. I think that was the other one that I read. Never read Hamlet, unfortunately. The title stems from one of Hamlet's famous lines in Act 4, Scene 4 of the play, when criticizing the sheer pointlessness and absurdity of soldiers dying in battle over a worthless patch of land. Hamlet describes the territory as being worth no more than an eggshell. So then the song, "Even for an Eggshell." Song meaning worthless conflict, just as the Shakespearean characters fought over territory worth an eggshell, the song explores the futility of arguing and fighting over a relationship that has already been destroyed. I see. Kind of like instead of like bending over and picking up the pennies, just pick up the dollar instead and recognize that maybe we have to finally cut our losses and not spend so much time rolling around in the dirt of the details. Because if you think about it, like oftentimes the details, they don't matter because the bigger grievance happened way before. Like my girlfriend and I will watch the show 90 Day Fiance, and it is so interesting to see how the different couples dynamics work out, because one person will like have cheated on the other, but then they have the audacity to complain about not having received a text back within an hour. And okay, maybe there's like some validity to like, okay, you didn't hear from your partner and therefore you feel a kind of way. It is worth talking about, but there is also a hierarchy of grievances that has occurred here. And how dare you come after me for not texting you after an hour when last night you cheated on me with whatever, you know what I mean? So, extended to the argument of the battlefield, which, the fact that we're here is funny, but whatever. Yeah, a lot of the time people are fighting over nothing, just incessant greed, unnecessary greed. And usually the soldiers, they're not fighting for themselves and their own will. It's for the will of some older man who thinks that accruing more wealth is the way to go. When will we get over the unending need for greed and just let each other live peacefully, with grace, happily even? Can you imagine that? So I do like this song in that sense, where all of these feelings that we have about why are we fighting so much, I'm kind of angry and upset about it. And I feel like through an angsty delivery, that message comes across, maybe with a little less seriousness than some other kinds of song styles. But it really is subjective at the end of the day. And as a last rant I'm going to go on, I have never appreciated the fact that people in the musical world who, let's say, they love blues but they don't love rock, or they love jazz but they don't love punk rock, they make it a competition between the styles and genres. No, there's no competition. It is all art. It all exists for what it is on its own rather than because of something else. And nothing has to be relative to the other. It's useful for comparison, and when I, as a subjective listener, give you my takes, it's usually relative to other things that I've heard, because that's just how I think of things. But I never will make the claim that a certain song, a certain style, any X, Y, and Z, any bad take inserted there means that the message wasn't delivered as well. You know what I mean? It's all about how it resonates with you as a listener. And in terms of style, just because someone doesn't understand punk rock doesn't make punk rock as a genre problematic or naive or, only for the kids. I like to say that this brings me back to my high school days because that is when I discovered music like this, but that doesn't mean that it only has value in that time and place either. So if you were to discover a song like this in your mid to late 30s, it may not resonate with you as well, but it doesn't make it any worse of a song or have any less of an impact. It definitely has an impact, but differentially on a different demographic, you may say. So all of that to say, let people listen to the music that they like to listen to. I will continue to listen to all of the music you guys want me to check out. So punk rock, jazz, blues, classical, folk, Mongolian throat singing, I really don't care. Please send that my way. You can do that by using the first link in the description box below. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.